Hey, happy Saturday, everybody. I am doing a special Facebook Live here from home, and I want to get everyone kind of an update on our severe weather potential as we head into the rest of today. Of course, we've been talking about this threat now for several days, and it looks like it is knocking on our doorstep as we speak. So, what's going on out there right now? If you've been outside, you can feel how warm it is, and that's that warmth out ahead of the cold front. The cold front is coming in from the west right now, and that cold front is located right near Texarkana. It's kind of just in our East Texas counties right now, up into portions of southwest Arkansas. That's where the cold front is. And if you've been outside, you can feel how warm it is. It just kind of feels like a severe weather day. It's very windy, it's very humid, and those temperatures right now up near 80 degrees. That's even warmer than we had expected. It's about 79 or 80 now in Shreveport. So that's not good. You don't want to see warm temperatures on a severe weather day because that, of course, increases that likelihood of severe storms. So, somebody said they cannot hear me. Let me know if you guys are having issues with the audio. Someone said they can't hear, but if anyone else wants to chime in and let me know if you are able to hear me, that would be appreciated. But again, we're going to go through all the severe weather potential over the next couple of hours here. And okay, you do hear me. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. Someone said they couldn't hear me. Someone else said they could. So I see a lot of you saying that you can. So we're good to go. All right. So let's get to our graphics here. I want to show you what we are really watching. And this is what's happening right now. So notice that we have these showers and storms developing across East Texas right now. And that's kind of right along that cold front. Now, as expected, everything that we have out there right now is not strong. It's not severe. It's just, showers. We could get a rumble of thunder. What we're dealing with right now is not of concern. It's what happens later on this afternoon. And I really think this threat doesn't really get going here until probably 3 or maybe even 4 p.m. So it's going to be a few more hours, I think, before things really get rolling. That area that you see highlighted in red there, that is the area that the Storm Prediction Center is keeping a close eye on, because that is the area where you see highlighted in red that will likely be underneath the tornado watch in the next couple of hours. It's what we call a mesoscale discussion. So basically the Storm Prediction Center is discussing that area highlighted for that potential for severe weather. And what they're saying is that we're likely going to see a line of severe storms quickly developing somewhere there in north central Louisiana into southern Arkansas. So right where you see that area highlighted in red, that's the spot that will likely be under a tornado watch in the next couple of hours. So we're going to keep an eye on that. Not to say that other areas couldn't see severe weather, but I think the biggest threat is really going to be in our eastern parishes and also to the northeast as well. So let me kind of adjust this screen just a little bit. And again, I'm doing this on the fly, so just bear with me. I'm going to be showing you all kinds of different graphics. What I want to show you now is kind of what we're talking about. So this kind of summarizes what we're going to be expecting here over the next, 12 hours or so. So, of course, today is a first alert weather day. Hopefully you guys can read that font. I apologize if that's a little small, but I'll read it to you anyway. So severe storms are expected today, all threats on the table. And now as far as the timing of these storms, we're talking anywhere from about 3 p.m. through about 9 p.m. That's our window where we have the highest likelihood of severe weather. And again, our eastern parishes are going to be the most favored for that severe weather threat. So here's a current look at the radar. Let me try to make this a lot bigger for you. And hopefully that does help. You can kind of see that better. And again, I'm doing this from home, so I can't quite give you the full picture. Actually, you know what? I can. Let me do one more thing. Hopefully that makes it a little bit easier to see. But as you can see, what we see right now is just some very spotty showers across East Texas. This is a live look at our Doppler radar. You see those spotty showers across Northeast Texas, up into Texarkana. And then out ahead of that, as you get closer into like Shreveport, we're starting to see some development here near the Texas state line. So you see just a few of those showers beginning to form just off to the west of Shreveport and Bossier. And again, nothing is severe right now. If we're going to get severe weather, it's likely going to be a little bit to the east. And so I'm going to show you the outlook area here in just a second. What I also want to show you guys, though, is how warm those temperatures are, because it is incredibly warm out there. And again, that's part of the concern that we have today, is that temperatures are even warmer than we had forecasted. So, I mean, look at that. It's crazy. Like, we were in the 40s and 50s the past couple of days, and now we're close to 80. It is 79 currently in Shreveport. It is 80 in Natchitoches, 81 in Bienville. So when it comes to severe weather, as you probably know, you don't want the warm temperatures, because the warmer it gets, the more energy that we have for the storms. And so when you see those temperatures near 80 ahead of that cold front, that is concerning because that does mean that as this line moves eastward, it is likely going to be strengthening across the area. But you can really see where that cold front is. I mean, look at this. We're near 80 in Shreveport, but you go up to Idabel, it's 54 degrees. That is a really strong cold front coming in. Why should I believe you? You are wrong. All right, Susie, we'll hop on off. So yeah, near 80 right now in Shreveport. And so it's going to be a warm afternoon, and that's going to bring that severe weather threat. All right, so this is the area that we are talking about, and it really hasn't changed from what we were looking at yesterday. So the area that you see highlighted in that kind of tan shade, that's your enhanced risk. That's a level 3 on the scale. So as you can see, that really includes our eastern parishes. So what we're kind of anticipating is that as this moves to the east, as this line moves east, it is going to be strengthening, and it will really start to strengthen here as it moves into our eastern parishes. So that area highlighted in that tan color, that's your enhanced risk. That does include areas just east of Shreveport and Bossier. We're talking, Little River, Red River Parish. We're talking Natchitoches Parish, Bienville, Claiborne, Webster, places like that out towards Ruston. So those are the areas that we're going to be really watching really closely. And then you can see back off to the west, we have that slight risk that does include Shreveport and Bossier. So the farther west you go, the lower that threat is going to be. And the farther east you go, the higher that risk is going to be. So that's kind of how it's going to play out. Again, we've been talking about this for the last several days, how it's really going to be the eastern half of the Arklatex that is going to be favored. So let's actually look at the threats individually here, kind of showing you what we're expecting this afternoon. So as far as a tornado threat, I do think we could see a few tornadoes out there this afternoon as that turns into a squall line. And these are likely going to be brief tornadoes that kind of develop along that line of storms. And so these could spin up very quickly, but also probably spin down very quickly as well. So again, tornado threat is elevated, meaning when we say elevated, we mean that there could be a few tornadoes out there. I am not expecting like a tornado outbreak or anything, but definitely would be anticipating that we could have a few tornado warnings this afternoon. We could have some hail out there as well. And then also we're talking about the potential for some damaging winds as that big squall line pushes in. So let's all look at future track. I know that's probably what a lot of you want to look at anyway. So here's where we are at the current moment, and future track doing a really good job here. So as you can see, we have this kind of broken line of showers and storms. That's where we are right now. And we will take you into, let's see here. Let's go to about 3 p.m. So that's just about 45 minutes. And again, this might not be exact. And remember, forecast models just are used as guidance. They kind of give us an idea of what we're going to expect. And a lot of times it's not going to, the radar is probably not going to look exactly like this by 3 p.m., but it does give you a good idea of what to expect. So this is at 3 o'clock. Notice as that line makes its way into Louisiana from Texas, it's going to start to strengthen. So you see a few more of these little red areas showing up. So I can make that any bigger for you. So I think that's a little bit better. So again, you see some more red cores showing up in there, which indicates that the storms will start to strengthen a little bit by about 3 p.m. Take you to about 4 o'clock this afternoon. You can see that we have that line off to our east by that time. So again, the window of opportunity to get severe weather in Shreveport and Bossier metros is not going to be very long. I mean, it's basically, if you're watching from Shreveport and Bossier, I'd say between about 3 p.m. and maybe 4 or 5 o'clock. So just a very, very brief window where we could see severe weather in the Shreveport Bossier metros, but this line is going to sweep through pretty quickly. So I think by 4 or 5 p.m. it's really going to be focusing there in our central parishes. So that'll probably be just east of Shreveport by that time. And then we take you to 5 p.m. and notice that's when things really start to heat up. So that's when the line is really going to start to intensify. So we're talking, down towards Sabine Parish, maybe up towards, Natchitoches, I'd say, Coshada, maybe places like Bienville, Monroe, out towards Minden. Those are the areas to watch by the later afternoon hours. And you can see that line will start to intensify by that time. So that's 5 p.m. And then we take you to 6 o'clock tonight, and that is really going to be a nasty line of storms. So I am concerned about our eastern parishes, especially down around Natchitoches. What we're likely going to see here is what we call the squall line. And so this whole big line of storms is going to sort of congeal. It's going to consolidate into a big line. And then as that happens, we're talking about the potential for some damaging winds. So the damaging wind potential is really going to ramp up as that squall line develops. And right along the leading edge of that line of storms, along the leading edge there, right through the through like Natchitoches and up towards our eastern parishes, up into portions of southeastern Arkansas, that is where we could see some tornadoes kind of spinning up within this larger line of storms. And so tornado threat and also damaging wind threat, and again, that's going to be highest in those eastern parishes. That's 6 p.m. Take you to 7 p.m. And you can see really by that time, most of this is starting to move out. So it's not going to last very long. And that's the good news. It's going to be a brief window, but it could be pretty intense for a few hours this evening. I think by about 7 or 8 p.m., most of our area should be in the clear. So if anything, this afternoon, forecast models are kind of moving this through a little bit quicker. So there's 7 p.m. And then again, with any forecast model that you look at, it's not going to be exact on the timing. So give or take an hour, take this with a grain of salt. It could be a little later than this. It could be leaving by 8 or 9, but this gives you the general idea of what to expect. So there's 7 p.m. and then there is 8 o'clock, and you can see that line is quickly moving out by that time. So let's go back to our risk area. So if you were wondering which areas are under the risk, and that is really going to be in that area in tan. So that is your enhanced risk right there. So that's really going to include our eastern half. So again, Shreveport, Bossier, it's a tough call for us. I don't think our severe threat is honestly that high in the Shreveport, Bossier metros. I think it's going to really strengthen as it gets east of us. Let's see here. Any questions? All right. I'm going to see if and there's a lot of you on here, so I don't know if I'll be able to answer all of your questions, but I'll try to answer as many as possible. Someone's asking about temperatures. Once this cold front moves through, temperatures are going to plummet. So right now we're near 80, but we're talking about temperatures tomorrow morning in the 30s. So a big, big drop in temperatures expected. But again, that's your area that is going to be under the higher threat. Now let's go back to the current radar, because I do want to show you that one more time here. And let's see here. So what I'm showing here is the mesoscale discussion from the Storm Prediction Center. If you missed this at the beginning, let me kind of make this a little bit bigger for you. And so that's kind of our area that we are keeping a close eye on. What about tornadoes in Shreveport? I mean, you never want to say never, but I think the chances in Shreveport are extremely low. So I wouldn't worry too much here. Yeah, so it's really just going to be a very small chance in the Shreveport, Bossier metros. As this whole system makes its way east, that's where the chance will start to ramp up a little bit more. But again, as I showed you earlier, we have these kind of scattered showers and storms developing off to our west right now. But that area highlighted in red, that is the area that the Storm Prediction Center is currently monitoring, and they are watching for that area because if there likely will be a tornado watch issued here in the next hour or two. And if a watch is issued, which it looks like it will be, about an 80% chance that they're going to issue that watch. Where you see shaded in red right there, that is where they're likely going to issue that tornado watch. And this is an update straight from the National Weather Service. So they're saying we are not really dealing with robust convection at the present. However, the high resolution model information we are looking at suggests the potential for stronger storms to form by about 4 p.m. So that's kind of what I was talking about. So the National Weather Service kind of on the same boat, or saying their thinking is the same as us, that probably after about 4 p.m., that's when this is going to start to really ramp up. A lot of folks asking about individual towns. And so what I'm going to do is go back to Future Track, kind of go really slowly through that. So hopefully that'll help answer some more questions there. Let's see here. So let's get back to our Future Track. And let's go to that. All right. So again, this is 2 p.m. Let me make this bigger for you. So that is 2 o'clock this afternoon. I mean, that's pretty much where we are right now. Rustin, hey Lisa. Yeah, I'm going to actually kind of go through the timing here again right now. I'm going to go walk everybody through Future Track because I know a lot of you are kind of asking about the timing. And again, keep in mind here that when it comes to timing out a line of storms, it's very challenging until that line actually forms, and that line is just starting to develop. So when you're looking at this Future Track forecast model, just take it with a grain of salt because it might not be exact timing. It might be a little bit earlier, might be a little bit later. Just kind of gives you the general rough idea of timing. Because again, Models are not perfect, but let's take a look at 4 o'clock this afternoon. So actually, let's go to 3 p.m. So by 3 o'clock, notice that what this model is showing is that we're going to be seeing this line starting to form around 3. So maybe in the next 45 minutes or so, these storms could start to form right near Shreveport and Bossier. What's probably going to happen though is that we're going to watch these storms kind of forming right overhead. So these could kind of form right on top of us. And then this line is going to push east. So for Shreveport, Bossier, these storms are going to be kind of in a developing stage as they're developing overhead. And then my thinking is that once this moves east of the Shreveport, Bossier metros into our eastern parishes, that's when it's really going to start to strengthen. So again, that's about 3 p.m. So watch this. So basically, this is kind of interesting. So this is where we are right now, about 2:30. And you can see here, these storms really start to develop pretty quickly right around the Shreveport, Bossier metros, right around 3 p.m. Here is 4 o'clock. Hopefully you guys can see this okay. But we're talking about these storms starting to move through, places like Hemphill, maybe into DeSoto Parish by that time, and kind of impacting the eastern sections of Shreveport, potentially still in Bossier, maybe out towards Minden and up into south central Arkansas. So that's where the line will likely be by about 4 p.m.-ish. And then we get into 5 o'clock and notice the storms are really starting to intensify. So this is where we have the bigger concerns for some higher end severe weather. So, if you're watching from, if you're watching from Sabine Parish, like Zwolle, Manny, I'm just trying to call out some town names here. Southeastern DeSoto, I'd say if you're watching from Coshada, anywhere in Bienville Parish, out east on I-20 near Minden, you guys are under the higher threat. So I would be more weather aware the farther east you get. So this is 5 p.m. Notice that line is starting to really increase in intensity by about 5 o'clock. And then we take you to, take you to 6 o'clock. And that line is really getting going. So I think really, as I've mentioned all along, I think between about 4 p.m., I'm going to adjust the timing a little bit. I'm going to say 4 p.m. through about 8. That is the time frame where we have the highest risk of severe weather, and that's mostly going to be in the eastern half of the Arklatex. Houghton, you're probably going to see this probably around 3 or 4, but it probably won't be that bad for Houghton. I think it's going to be strengthening just off to your east, but it's going to be kind of a close call. There's 6 p.m., and then there is 7 o'clock, and you can see that line is pretty much moving out of the area after about 7 p.m., and then it should be on the way out. So that's kind of what we're talking about. And then let me go back to the current radar again. So hopefully that helped answer some questions about the timing of all this. Yeah. And we're going to provide you updates all afternoon, of course. We have Evan in the studio right now. And of course, technically I'm off today, but if it gets a little crazy, I'll be jumping in to help as well if we get any tornado warnings. All right, so here's a current look at the radar picture. What's going on now? We can see that this line is trying to get a little bit stronger, but still not much happening. This is mostly just rain. These are mostly just, showers at this point. Nothing that's super crazy, but we are watching. What I'm really watching here is, let me see if I can actually draw this for you. So what I'm kind of watching right now is this little line. You see that line starting to kind of develop right through there. That could be the beginnings of maybe some stronger storms. And so we're going to watch that leading line. Basically anything that forms, the farther east stuff forms, the stronger it will be. So that little, where I drew that line, we're starting to see a little band of showers developing right there. And that could be the beginning perhaps of some of the stronger activity. So we'll keep an eye on that. And so that's kind of what we're talking about there. Let me widen this view just a little bit. Let's put on a loop over the last couple of hours. So here's a 3-hour long loop, and you can see that we are starting to see those showers beginning to kind of get a little bit stronger now, moving in from East Texas. Nothing that's severe, even close to being severe at this point, but it is something that we're closely watching. And again, we start to see, as you see up in portions of Arkansas now, we're starting to see a little bit of activity getting, starting to get a little stronger here. So we're going to keep our eyes on this stuff, east of Texarkana. And then again, this line extending down into Shreveport. For the Shreveport metro area, there's really not much happening. We got a little cell that's trying to develop near Oil City. but nothing crazy just yet. So we'll keep an eye on it. But I think by about 4 p.m. or so, we're likely going to be watching this line of storms developing somewhere near Shreveport and Bossier, but hopefully this will be just off to our east, and we'll keep an eye on that for sure. So I'm checking the National Weather Service chat room here to see if we have any updates. No updates from them. And like I said, we will likely have a tornado watch that's going to be issued for us, I would say within the next hour or two. We're probably definitely looking at a tornado watch, so keep an eye out for that. But again, that's kind of how your severe threat is looking. Let's go back to our threat area. And before I end this Facebook Live, I do want to touch on some winter weather potential for next week. I'll get to that in just a second. Courtney, what are you asking about? What area? So this is the area that we're most concerned with, where you see shaded in tan. So that is your enhanced risk. And that kind of lines up with what I've been thinking too. So again, if you're in that tan shaded area, eastern parishes there, that is the area that has the higher risk. Minden, yep. Minden is probably going to get some pretty nasty storms out there along in our eastern areas. That's going to be probably during the 6 to 8 p.m. time frame. Bossier, Courtney, that's going to be pretty much any time from, I'd say from 3 p.m. through about 3 to 6. Let's say 3 to 6. That's our window. But I do think the worst of it should be mainly east of Bossier. It is going to be a close call, though. Again, these storms are going to be firing up pretty close to Shreveport and Bossier, and then they're going to be quickly moving east. So I think the bigger threat's going to be east of the Shreveport Bossier area. Heavy rain and wind. Yeah, I just say some heavy rain and wind in Blanchard. I don't think it's going to be crazy severe there. Spring Hill, same story. Texarkana, as far as severe weather, you're kind of already in the clear. I really don't think Texarkana is going to see too much severe weather. I think you're going to be fine up there. Natchitoches, yeah, you will likely be impacted you could see some pretty nasty storms, I would say, after about 6 p.m. or so for Natchitoches, and could be talking about damaging winds in that area and maybe some tornadoes, so keep an eye out. Stonewall, probably here in the next, I would say, between about 4 and 6. Okay, so that again is your severe weather potential there. That's what we're looking at. And really quickly, I'm going to jump off this in a second. And if you guys still have questions, we'll try to answer some more off camera here. And I think we'll be doing maybe more Facebook Lives later on. But really quickly, I just got to show you this. I know we're kind of talking about severe weather, but this is definitely very interesting. We got to talk about this. And I mentioned this in my forecast yesterday on air. There is the potential next week, and potential is the key word here. This is still a few days away, but the overall pattern is suggesting that we could see some winter weather here next Tuesday night into Wednesday. We could see some freezing rain, maybe some winter mix. That would be late Tuesday night into Wednesday, mostly north of I-20, and it looks like the northern half of the Arklatex could be seeing some winter weather next week. But again, that's still a long ways out, and we'll keep an eye on it. I mean, I'd say it's a potential is there, but I wouldn't say it's likely at this point. So keep an eye on that. And then quickly want to show you the cold air that's going to move in next week. Here's, our forecast wind chills by next Thursday. So this is Thursday morning, and you can see, it's going to be really cold next week. So just a quick little sample of that, but let's go back to what we're seeing right now. And again, quickly want to look at the temperatures because we're dealing with the warm air. That's going to bring that severe weather threat. Look at that. It's close to 80 now in Shreveport. Let's take a live look outside. See what it's looking like out there now. And there's that live look. You can see the sky's looking pretty ominous. So, anyway, guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up because, again, I'm technically off right now. I got some other stuff to do around the house and do some things here. But we'll keep an eye on this for you. It's an evolving situation. We will likely have a tornado watch being issued here in the next couple hours. The big question is, where is that line of storms form? As of right now, I'm thinking that line is going to form very close to Shreveport and Bossier, but I think the higher threat is going to be off to our east. So really the eastern half of the Arklatex, eastern areas east of Shreveport and Bossier are likely going to have the higher risk of severe weather, and that will likely happen after 4 o'clock, lasting through about 8 p.m. So we'll keep you weather aware, guys, and we will chat later. And again, Evan, we have Evan in this afternoon and this evening, and I'm on standby. So if we do get tornado warnings today, I will be jumping in there and I'll be helping out. We'll be doing team coverage. So anyway, guys, you have a great Saturday. Don't worry too much about it, but just stay weather aware and pay close attention to the forecast.